dynamic of the mother and the son in both shows. So it goes, and if you guys haven't watched it, please watch it. It's very entertaining, educational, and all that. A real life, I really believe. When you're so on the dynamic of the parent and the mother and the son in both shows, they were not doing things that their mother wanted them to do. As far as staying in the what's the word, Vicky? Go to college, do your homework,
not participating in illegal activities.
There we go.
They didn't want their children to be a part of their illegal lifestyle.
Yes, I forgot that part.
They wanted them to go to school, get an education, and seek after a better life than what they displayed in front of their children. They didn't want their children to live a life of crime. They wanted them to live a legitimate life.
And as I was watching, and I've been watching this for a while, but today it just hit me. It's like, that's so interesting when you're a parent and you want your children to go this way and they go another way. At the end of the day, it's their life. Yes, we're supposed to raise them as correctly. I don't know if correctly is right, but raise them the best of our ability. There's no training book on how to raise a child. So you want the best for them. But even with the best for them, they're going to go sometimes their separate ways, and we have to love them anyway. So when you see your child going down a different... Go ahead.
I was going to add to that as a Christian, we believe in Bible principles and we believe in what the Word says, which is the Bible. And it says we were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. So I feel like, and I know that means that irregardless of what we teach our kids, they still have a desire to sin. Like sin it tastes good, it feels good, it's interesting because of how
Vicky,
we
before
were.
You go on real quick. Before you go on, you know how you do this.
I don't want to go any. I don't want to go any further with that, but I was just saying that only.
Okay, but just still, our disclaimer. Big for listeners out there. This show is for everyone, no matter your religion, your faith, your sexuality, whatever. But there are times, every now and then, we're going to talk about, like Vicky just did, the Bible or Christ, God. Every now and then, to back up our point, due to the fact that we are both Christian believers and we do go to church, but we are not trying to push our faith on you when we're talking. Okay, so
I just wanted to use that as an example. I wanted to use that as an example, just like I would use any other example. So, like for my life, those are the principles that I follow. But there's other people that follow principles. They have morals and things like that in place for their family or the way they want to raise their family or whatever the case may be. So that everybody knows that you tell a child to not touch the oven and they still will touch the oven and burn themselves. Or you tell them, don't touch that iron because it's hot, and they want to touch it anyway. So it's like a desire to do the opposite of what you teach them. It's like an innate desire that we all have, whether you saved or not. That was just an example that I was using in regards to my belief system. But at the end of the day, we do try to teach our children to do things to avoid them going through unnecessary hardship, things like that. And, we try to teach them, the right direction, the best we can. So I'll let you go ahead, Dika, and finish.
Thank you, Dr.
Continue
Vicky.
what you were saying. Oh, my God. Why are you calling me Dr. Vicky? Call me Miss Vicky.
Good.
You ain't said Miss Vicky all day. The whole show.
I know, because I'm doing it on purpose. I know who you are. I'm giving you that credit because you have fruitful knowledge today, man. So hey, just go ahead and enjoy it for this second. Okay? I know you're not a doctor. Okay. All right. Dang, I forgot what I was going to say, listeners. I was so intrigued with what Vicky was saying. Okay.
Well, you were talking about what happened on Power.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, going back to the show, because I watched it today. I'm not going to go into detail, so I don't want to be a spoiler.
You can't tell them what happened on the show today.
Excuse me? Are you listening?
Use the old clip.
Excuse me, I am. If you let me finish, tunnel vision moment. Goodness.
I haven't seen it yet, so you can't say anything about it.
I wasn't going to talk about this show. If you let me finish this. Can you tell her to let me finish? Okay. Usually it's me doing that. She's going to say, Dika, can you let me finish? But then today she's been doing Dika. Okay. Power goes to the dynamic of the son and the mother when he was going down the road that she and his father went down, and they were trying to do better, and so he could have a better life. He was seeing things, experiencing things, seeing things, and he went down that road. So I respected her when it got down to the point, okay, your father don't want to accept. This is how you are, but I do. So if you're going to live this life like I did, then I'm going to have to teach you how to do it the right way. I respected her for that. She didn't want her son to be involved in that. But he was going down that road and he wasn't changing no matter how much she talked to him, no matter how much his father talked to him. And she had to make a decision. That's my child. I'm trying to save him. So if I got to save him, then I guess I have to do it this way so that we can continue that relationship and to make sure my son don't get hurt or shot or killed. That's the way I looked at it. And I respected her for that. So anything you want to say, Vicky? Go ahead.
I was just going to say that a lot of times parents get in that position. Some parents handle it differently. I know a lady that, she chose to handle it differently. Her son was going down the road of trouble, and, she kind of like allowed him to get arrested. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go into detail, but, she didn't protect him from getting arrested. She kind of assisted a little bit. It probably saved his life. You know what I'm saying? The road he was going down. Mm-hmm. However, there are some parents that maybe wouldn't handle it that way. They'll be like, they try to put their child out of harm's way, and maybe they'll intervene and send their child away. Or I'm not going to use that example of being arrested, but I'm saying like maybe the child is on drugs, and then they decide, I'm going to put them in rehab, or, what's another good example of if your child is acting up? Maybe you put them in a behavior facility. I've been down that road where I had to do that with my son.
Yeah.
Instead of not letting him come back home, I decided to help him. Yes. And then another thing that parents do is they help the child to build a rapport. Not all parents, but they help the child by building a rapport with the child. And then so when the child really gets in trouble, they call on their parents, versus if you create animosity with your child and then your child don't even feel comfortable to call you when they really need you. You know what I'm saying? So that's another way of preparing the child to have a way out of the mess that they got themselves into. So like it's okay, they over here doing all this foolishness, so I'm not even going to talk to them. I don't want to have nothing to do with them. That's not going to help them. That's steering them further in there. But if you still are, keeping some kind of connection with the child and still talking to them, praying for them, or however you choose to build them up, to build that rapport. And then when they get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then they say, well, you know what, I'm going to call my father, or I'm going to call my mother. you know, or my uncle, whoever that person is that's in their life, and they say, I'm ready to change, or, you know, I need help. And then that's an avenue for that person, for the child to get themselves together. So I just wanted to mention, because I don't know if you had another example, but I wanted to go into the risk reduction. That's kind of like risk reduction, example of that. You finna go into something else?
No, I just wanted to say the last point, and then we can finish that part. What you were just saying about, you know, building that rapport with your child, no matter what they're doing. So if they're going down the wrong road, but they know at the end of the day, even though I'm in my mess, I know I can call my mother, I know I can call my father, right? So that was the dynamic of the show, you know, the two characters, where she said, okay, you know, you're not stopping, I want you to stop. You're not stopping, so I just have to accept that this is what you want to do, and I'm going to help you do it right if you're going to do this. And I'm using that sentence. That right there, when she did that, her son knew that she was going to be there for him no matter what. And the example you just gave was what happened to them. He was able to call his mother when he got in trouble. He needed help. She had to come, you know, that whole dynamic. So I'll turn it back over to you to talk about what you were saying.
So going into the risk reduction, that's a form of risk reduction. But to give another example of what risk reduction is, so like, for example, they use it in the substance abuse environment where heroin addicts, they can't get them to stop using heroin, but they can provide them with clean needles to keep them from getting HIV. Or they provide them with methadone clinics to go to instead of overdosing or whatever the case may be. And then you have with the, what was the other example? With Planned Parenthood, that's another risk reduction program that they have out there where it prevents young girls or even older women, whatever the case may be, females, from going to get abortions in these black market facilities. They have access to getting them with doctors that have clean, you know, they have all their legitimate doctors. And it's not just for abortions. It's also for STD train workshops, having access to things that prevent you from getting STDs, or even health education, or even treatment for STDs, WIC, prenatal programs. You get resources for prenatal stuff. What was the other thing I was going to say? Birth control. So hopefully they wouldn't have to get pregnant to even have an option of giving up their child. And then the other thing is not only abortion is not the only option. They have adoption, foster care. It's different options, whereas back in the day, and even still in some areas, there are people leaving babies in trash cans and things like that because they cannot take care of the child or they don't want to. So that's another risk reduction program where it helps to reduce risk. So the same thing with the scenario with power. The mother made that decision to try to help reduce risk. She like, you know what, my son is finna try to get into this game that I introduced him to, and it's not his fault that he was born into a life of crime, that his parents are criminals. So let me equip him until we figure out how to get him out of it. Or at least we can reduce the risk of him going out there and getting killed because he's blindsided. And I respect him for that. And so I'm saying that's another form of risk reduction. So like even when you have your child or someone, I think of child as minors or whatever, when they're out there doing God knows what, and then you build a rapport with that child, you're reducing risk because you're leaving an open door for that child to reach out to you or to reach out to people that's close to you to get help or direction, or even the fact that you built that rapport with that child that builds a confidence in that child that they can maybe trust another adult that maybe reminds them of you. So it's like, so the whole conversation here is reducing risk.